All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. This game is going to be between VietnamGosu and Tho, taking place here on Northern Isle. I'm going to try to zoom out, and it's going to zoom in because that's what it does. And now I'm going to zoom out again, and now it's going to actually zoom out. There we are. And then I'm going to try to zoom out one more, and wish it could do in like a little bit in between there. All right. After you've cast over 4,000 games and maybe 1,000 games in terms of Warcraft 3 under the new interface of what Warcraft 3 reforged and everything else. You get used to all of these daily patterns and you just try to make sense of the things that you see daily. Now, what you guys don't see right now is the overlay. I don't know what happened. W3 Booster did not seem to load properly. And I don't know if it's because, they are no longer supporting the online overlay and the servers necessary to, create that overlay for you locally. So, I don't know if anyone out there knows of a way that I can host my own server and then create my own Warcraft 3 overlay, things of that nature, that would be great. Otherwise, well, I'd hate to say this, but this may be the beginning of the end for Warcraft 3, especially unless the community really rallies together. So far, it's been a wonderful ride. 20 plus, well, not 20 plus, 15 plus years. 15 plus years of me casting Warcraft 3. 22 years or 24 years of me really playing and watching such amazing matches over the years. I don't know, it feels like I'm signing off and I don't want to. No. I guess I'm just getting old and reminiscing about what a great game and what a great company Blizzard was. It really feels like Blizzard lost a little bit of sense of who they were, especially when they, I wouldn't say right when they got sold, but when they dissolved a lot of the community efforts, right? There used to be interactions with the community, the business had with the community on a regular basis. Anyways, let's go ahead and break things down here. Tho going for a Dark Ranger first here as the green Night Elf. Meanwhile, gonna go ahead and already make its way down, perhaps trying to figure out how to shut down VietnamGosu here, and he's not really going to find very much. Is it going to be Black Arrow as the first skill? No, it is going to be Siphon Life, so Dark Ranger really finding a new footing overall. Look at this. This one Dark Ranger was able to just tank all of that damage and then pull the item away. Are we going to continue to see that here? There's going to be some, Siphon Life onto a ghoul. That ghoul, if it's not careful, is easily going to get taken down. So one ghoul already down. Another skeletal minion easily taken out there. And the Dark Ranger, has full life. So that's one of those strange situations. So early on, you normally would think heroes, if I were to tell you, hey, there's a way that you can have your main hero tank a bunch of damage and heal itself, and you would not believe me, but this is actually what this particular strategy is with this Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger nearly finishing off that ghoul there, but the archers unable to get off a couple of more shots. There's a big impale, and that could be some big damage indeed. One more hit on that archer would take it down. Are we going to see that carry-on beetle be able to get away? Archers need to try and find a way to pass. You can see the other archers purposely trying to get away here, and now, a beautiful Siphon Life is the archer. Yes, gets to level 2 on that Dark Ranger as well. That final arrow doing exactly what it needed to do to take down that unit. All right, Acolyte dangerously low on hit points. One more shot, it gets taken down. Dark Ranger at 2.2 or 2.1, and meanwhile that Crypt Lord also at level 2 as well. This is not the strategy I was thinking of whatsoever, but wow, after 20 some odd years, seeing Dark Ranger first as a way for a hero to be able to tank damage and also heal itself, that is not something I expected to see. There's a Siphon Life onto that Ogre Magi. Ogre Magi gonna get felled really easily, now switching onto different targets and regenerating those hit points. Dark Ranger, finding new life and a new meta play in 2025. going after the Ice Troll Priest here and this Tuskar Trapper, as skeletal minions, or lesser dark minions, excuse me, more accurately, are popping up out of the ground. Down here on the southern side, VietnamGosu opening things up here. Gonna go ahead and place down that Essence of Blight, or not Essence of Blight, excuse me, that Sacrificial Skull to create Blight. Essence of Blight, the name of the Obsidian Statue's heals, obviously, as we are going into dual Ziggurats and that Haunting of the Gold Mine. Tech to tier 2 already done. So VietnamGosu is going to have the opportunity to train up a Slaughterhouse, well, train up a second hero, and also train up Acolytes. That is not something I was expecting to see early on. So VietnamGosu coming in with a meta switch as well. Oftentimes, undead players would delay that tech to tier 2, trying to crank out those acolytes, since normally only 5 acolytes are trained, and you don't want to train unnecessary acolytes. What we saw there was a fast tech to tier 2 traditionally, and then we're staying at Halls of the Dead. We have access to Slaughterhouse and also a training of a second hero already if we actually wanted to. Skeletal minions have made their way down. Nerubian Tower is already up alongside the Spirit Tower now, and with that, there should be enough deterrent to keep this one building up. All right, you can see Goblin Tinker, a nice follow-up hero here. Gargoyles now making their way as well. Skeletal minions, this is the level 3 variety. The Dark Ranger now sitting at level 3 here as we see a big Impale go down. All right, big Impale, Siphon life, Goblin Tinker, Gargoyle being forced to back up, Pocket Factory taken down here, Spirit Tower going straight after that Huntress as the piercing damage does rack up here. Meanwhile, Acolytes are mining a fair amount of gold, nearing 4 out of 5 saturation now, and should be able to also get some repairs. Beautifully done, beautifully played. Tho is going to be behind economically for a little while longer. 30 seconds, or now 25 seconds to finish the Tree of Life. Then on top of that, you need to entangle the gold mine as well. We are now getting that second hero. Still no Slaughterhouse, as that 5th and final Acolyte making its way out onto the battlefield. All right. The Creep Camp going straight after this Pocket Factory. A lot of damage is getting racked up onto that Tinker. Tinker may not be able to stick around in this fight very well, as the units are backing away. All right, Tree of Life was a little bit too far away from that gold mine. Now finally, while entangling that gold mine there, you can see it's taking a little bit of damage. Black arrows by that Dark Ranger, trying to rack up more damage as we are looking at that glaive bounce damage to get heavy armor on those Huntresses. All right, the extra glaive and that armor type now changing from unarmored to heavy, meaning that, they actually fall faster to destroyers, but no sign of destroyers yet, as we are not yet at tier 3. Instead, we are now going into double crypt, and double crypt normally means mass ghouls or gargoyles. Traditionally, crypt fiends, you have enough to train off of one crypt fiend, or one crypt there for crypt fiends, and the Huntresses themselves are going to be significantly much more powerful against those crypt fiends with that extra glaive bounce and also that heavy armor, greatly reducing the amount of damage they take from those crypt fiends. Coming back through, VietnamGosu setting up another Spirit Tower here, and that Spirit Tower, that armor, that piercing armor is not, or piercing damage isn't going to be enough to shut down those Huntresses. You can see this Dark Ranger trying to just channel and drain life out of those units while tanking. Meanwhile, Death Knight, Gargoyles going back and forth here. A 5th Gargoyle now being added, but there are plenty of archers, and those archers do have that 700 range, which is incredibly important as we now transition into Dryads. All right. Crystal ball, quick reveal of what's happening here. There's a Slaughterhouse. There's that tech to tier 3 that we were mentioning earlier. Slaughterhouse could easily get destroyed here. An easy cancellation as the Death Knight now perhaps goes after some of these targets. There was one Nerubian tower shot. That's not going to be enough. We are looking at double crypts. I do not believe VietnamGosu has really summoned anything else or trained anything else out of this extra crypt yet, as we're looking at a big impale across multiple targets. One Dryad already down. Gargoyles going after another target again. Are they going to find unarmored units? That is the big question, as a ghoul, well, day late and $1 short on that death coil. And, well, the Death Knight now has no more mana. Without the Slaughterhouse, difficult to keep topped off on mana here, as we see a Siphon Life shutting down, another unit here. Goblin Tinker nearing level 2. Are we going to see some more damage? Yes, there goes a Gargoyle giving level 2 to the Tinker here, as some units are trying to back away. Very low hit point units somehow surviving all of this, as the, well, take it back, you are the weakest link, goodbye. Quickly getting killed by your own friendly fire to prevent any experience gain. Black Citadel now online. There's Siphon Life trying to shut down that Crypt Lord. And Death Knight does have a potion of mana, should be using it momentarily and giving extra 200 hit points to that Crypt Lord. Meanwhile, though, there goes a Dryad, as both sides are still exchanging blows. We are getting up a third and final hero, that Lich. The Tomb of Relics, however, could get shut down, and it is going to fall here, meaning no Orb of Corruption for a while longer. Meanwhile, Death Knight still has a potion of mana, should be able to do a little bit more here. The Crypt now taking a lot of damage. That may be NWS, not worth saving, especially with the additional Crypt already back here by VietnamGosu, being able to hold on to it. He's not going to lose any real production whatsoever, as that Lich makes its way out onto the battlefield. All right. Gold mine off to the north is mining 8350 versus 7450. About 90 gold, no, 110 gold difference. No, 90 gold difference. 90? Yeah, 90 gold difference there. All right, there goes a big impale. Lich is out here onto the battlefield. Gets a follow-up Frost Nova. There's level 4 on the Crypt Lord. Is the Crypt Lord going to be able to do enough fall back here? Altar of Darkness is now going to fall. And it feels like, though, well, if he had actually spent the proper time going after the Altar of Darkness instead of this extra additional crypt, he could have delayed the Lich. The Lich already has the Orb of Corruption. Perhaps it was picked up by the Death Knight or that Crypt Lord earlier. And now, well, VietnamGosu has 3 out of the 4 things that he really wants, or 2 out of the 3 things that he really wants being at tier 3, one of which is that third hero and that Orb of Corruption. Still no Slaughterhouse, though, so no Obsidian statues, as we look at this 4-1-1 hero triad for your information. Meanwhile, a 4-2 hero by Tho. Skeletal minions diving in on to this army here. You can see these guys are tanking all of that damage. They're also getting abolished as well. They're going to get cleaned up. Forest Troll Trappers, level 4, level 2. Druid of the Claw now out on the battlefield for the heals. 4-3 now, also with Rune Bracers. So the Goblin Tinker is going to be quite a tanky hero, even though it is intelligent based. It has those Rune Bracers, allowing it to stay alive a little while longer. All right, on the southern side here, one Obsidian statue taking quite a beating, and now may need some repairs. The greater or the dark minions looking to dive in here. There's a pocket factory as well, as the undead army now making its way down to the south side here. Tomb of Relics quickly destroyed. There's a roar. Big 25% damage bonus, coupled with also the Book of the Dead. Book of the Dead units, however, do not have that bonus damage. That is important to note, as this Obsidian statue is about to fall. One Obsidian statue has already fallen, another one about to fall as well, and VietnamGosu has not been able to find a way to defend his expo easily. This army of acolytes trying to keep this Obsidian statue alive, but it is getting pelted down by the skeletal archers. All right, more repairs are going to be necessary. One more Ziggurat gets taken down, or I believe that was actually a Spirit Tower. A Slaughterhouse now training up some Abominations. The Abominations, however, do not have Disease Cloud, as a tactical retreat by the Goblin Tinker allows him to live and fight another day. All right, a couple of additional skeletal minions all getting cleaned up there. Meat Wagon there. Pocket Factory gonna, well, end up falling. We are looking at 70 supply, over 80 going up against 64 over 50 now. VietnamGosu upside down on supply, needs a little bit more as we're looking at 4-2-2 heroes going up against a 4-3 and eventual 1 as that Demon Hunter needs 30 more seconds. Alright, there is an Obsidian statue here providing a little bit of health to that Death Knight. And now it's, well, more pressure being placed down by Tho onto the slaughterhouse here. Alright, a couple of Ziggurats also could get cleaned up here in just a moment. You can see that these Clockwork Goblins, well, they are trying to fight their way through. And remember, they do explode on death. Meanwhile, Gargoyle is going straight after the Dryads. All right, couple of Druids of the Claw. Druid of the Claw, number 1, Staff of Preservation for the save there. No additional Staff of Preservations. Goblin Tinker now trying to retreat back. Are we going to see some more damage onto those Dryads, perhaps? The Meat Wagon's trying to get in position and trying to, well, splash a bit of damage. Meanwhile, Goblin Tinker Siphon life into the, getting Siphon life into by the Dark Ranger to live and fight another day. There goes a Druid of the Claw. There goes 2 Druids of the Claw. Death Knight bursts up to level 3. Mana burn now onto the Crypt Lord. Death Knight, however, still has plenty of mana. Could try and Death Coil for a save. There goes a Dryad as well. And are we going to see perhaps more units getting taken down? Lich trying to finish off the Goblin Tinker. Goblin Tinker, Staff of Preservation's back out. Remember, Death Knight cannot hero nuke that Dark Ranger as the units are falling back here. Demon Hunter may try to get another mana burn, but can he click on the proper target here as the Demon Hunter gets a mana burn onto the Crypt Lord before getting taken down? Clockwork Goblins, Pocket Factory, quickly going to get shut down here. And we see 58 over 70 supply, perhaps some more repairs and or acolytes need to be brought on over. All right, training up more acolytes here. Only about 6 minutes of mining left. Meanwhile, Magnetar Reaver engaging against the Dark Ranger and Goblin Tinker creep camp. The Pocket Factory cranking out those units. Well, as the Goblin Tinker looking to finish off more of these units again here. Demon Hunter resurrected really quickly back out on the battlefield in pretty much less than 30 seconds, it feels. Goblin Tinker now gets a quick level up as well. Tome of Agility +2, and that is going to, well, increase the damage on that Dark Ranger just a little bit more. All right, getting ready to engage. Do we see Disease Cloud? We do. Disease Cloud is an incredibly powerful tool if you can disease down specifically these Dryads and Archers. Their hit points are generally so low, and because it is Daybreak, they don't have any natural regeneration. They could all end up, well, sub 100 hit points very fast. Very fast. Meanwhile, I thought I said very fast for a second. Very fair, yeah. My retainer getting in the way, so to speak, or me just becoming more aware as I have children who need speech and wondering if I needed speech too. Anyways, Advanced Strength of the Wild. We are going to have 2 upgrades on the Druids of the Claw and those Dryads. Dark Ranger on the cusp will get to level 5 here, and now purposely backing away to try and give more experience to that Demon Hunter, who is now just shy of level 2. We see Tho trying to establish this bottom right-hand side of the map as a 3rd base, and if he can get that base there and operational and have it produce a return on investment, that is going to be tremendous. Overall supply count, 79 supply going up against 70. VietnamGosu having a little bit of an uphill battle, especially with these Ziggurats not upgraded to Spirit Towers. 2 more relics going to get shut down here, and the Druids of the Claw Dryads not just simply making their way in. All right, who's going to stop the other base first? And the Tree of Life quickly taken down. All right, so Tree of Life taken down in a moment's notice. Meanwhile, the Necropolis is not even getting targeted at this time as the Haunted Gold Mine has been shut down here. Are we turning this into a base race scenario? A new Tree of Life trying to be built, but no, that's not going to stick around for very long, as the Gargoyles with 2-0 upgrades alongside of the Destroyers going after these Wisps here. All right, Pocket Factory trying to, well, burst down and finish off all of these Ziggurats. Meanwhile, level 4, level 2, level 5, Dark Ranger, 4, Tinker, 2, Demon Hunter, trying to head back home. This is turning into a very big base race scenario, as we mentioned. Remember, also, the meat wagons do provide a big burst damage onto the buildings and are also effective against these dryads. There goes a mana burn, but only level 1 variety, not that scary. Goblin, Tinker, Frost Nova, Death Knight quickly using a Squirrel Town Portal. Are we going to see the death of a Druid of the Claw? We are, and the Abomination does get a save instead, as the Abomination holding steady now at 500 hit points. Death Knight may need to get another Death Coil onto that Abomination, but with that additional 400 hit point heal, that Abomination gonna be looking rather strong, as we're looking to clear out the top left hand side of the map now. Meanwhile, Tree of Life nowhere near done. A little bit more than a minute, and then add on top of that the entangling of the gold mine, and it's going to be quite a while as the units are looking to fall back here. Disease Cloud also applied to those dryads. You can see they're pretty much taking about 1 to 2 hit points, or 1 to 2 points of damage a second. I believe it's actually 1 point of damage a second. And with that Disease Cloud, I believe it lasts a minute now. So that's essentially 60 damage until you hit 60 damage a minute until that wears away, or you get down to 2 hit points. These units, if they do get down sub 100 hit points, they're going to try and stay back as best as they can. Magnetar Reaver taken down here. Crypt Lord going to get to level or get that item. Are we going to see the Ogre Magi get taken down? We are. That does not level up the Crypt Lord. I think he was just a little bit too far away. Instead, the Death Knight now halfway to level 3. All right. Some Devour magic, some easy experience there, and heals for those destroyers. That's exactly what you don't want to see. Meanwhile, a couple of beetles infesting the Tree of Life here. The Tree of Life nearly taken down, and you're going to see the Dryad abolish magic, but the Tree of Life now down to 315 hit points, holding steady. Mining on the top left-hand side, a new Necropolis, less than a minute of mining left in the main bases. Acolytes could be pivoting off to the north here as VietnamGosu tries to put pressure in the center portion of the map. Death Coil, Frost Nova, Demon Hunter, Impale, Staff of Preservation. Multiple abilities there. Meanwhile, Druids of the Talon, 3-2 upgraded Druids of the Talon, going after the targets here, trying to take things down. Perhaps the Gargoyle should be going after the Druids of the Talon, but there is no Vampiric Aura, so they are not going to be able to heal up that much. Goblin Tinker falls at level 4. Dark Ranger trying to hold alive, stay steady. Death Knight purposely backing away and looks to be okay, at least for now. Death Knight gets up to level 4 here. Additional skeletal minions trying to finish off some more of these units. Druid of the Claw, Dead's taken down, and more Siphon life from that Dark Ranger, but the Death Knight says, I'm not worried. I can heal up my partner for 400 hit points per heal, per burst. That's more damage that you can do, as the Demon Hunter is still staying steady at level 2. Now getting to level 3, so we should start seeing some bigger mana burns there. 2 Obsidian statues now down. Now there's that big mana burn that we were talking about earlier. Druids of the Talon poking away. There goes one Destroyer, and that Destroyer down to 239 hit points. Demon Hunter, however, lost in the exchange as well. Needs to get some Acolytes to fully saturate. Meanwhile, Wisps down to the south also getting into that gold mine to saturate. But VietnamGosu is in a great spot to shut down this Tree of Life already. Dark Ranger and Lich trying to make its way back over. And, Dark Ranger, trying to make its way towards the Death Knight to shut him down here. Death Knight still looking fairly strong, still has a potion of greater healing. Lich now getting drained life by that Dark Ranger. So odd to see, that Dark Ranger alongside the Death Knight and that Lich. And, realize that they're actually different colored heroes. Teal versus green.
A player's forces are
back off to the north. There's another Staff of Preservation. Are we going to see perhaps an Impale? Death Knight trying to go after that Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger not going to fall easily. There's a Siphon life. Death Knight now down to 285 hit points. Going to be able to hold steady again. Going after the Tuskar Trapper. That's going to get taken out. Tree of Life still having a good amount of hit points. could get repaired. We're going to be looking at a little bit of a small engagement again. 53 supply compared to 40 over 70. Night Elf having the supply advantage. There goes a big impale. Death Knight down to, well, 660 hit points after a 500 hit point heal. Druids of the Talon, are they going to fall? There goes one. There is going to go another. And, well, units are now making their way back off to the north. Lich still has a good amount of hit points. Orb of Corruption, dual obsidian statues here providing a bit of cover. And here we go again. Carry on Beetle now taken down. Units trying to make its way back. Repair on the Expo, though, knows that he needs to keep that expansion alive in order to be able to hang on. Only a 200 gold difference between these gold mines. And I believe Tho has actually mined more gold than his opponent. Yeah, only 3,800 left here versus 4,400 here. So yeah, definitely mining more gold as both of these, well, corner gold mines are fully saturated. All right. Destroyer in position. Are we going to see a Frost Nova onto those Wisps? No, we are not. Little bit of a fight getting underway. Abomination trying to make its way over. Goblin Tinker taking that damage. And we're still seeing more damage onto the Druid of the Claw and all of these units again. Crypt Fiends also joining in on the fight. You're going to see, well, yeah, a good chunk of hit points lost on that Dryad. 28 to 43 hit points of damage. Death Knight could easily Death Coil heal back up that Crypt Fiend. Are we going to see some Impales? No, we are not. Summoning up some additional, well, no, it doesn't even look like additional beetles as the Obsidian statue now tries to regroup with the rest of the army. All right, taking to the skies, going to turn back around. There's a Death Coil Frost Nova. There's an Impale. Druid of the Claw about to get taken down. It does get taken down. Meanwhile, Druids of the Talon are making their way over. All right, another Destroyer shows up to the party. Druids of the Talon still chasing after that one there. And both sides are still fighting their way through as the Death Knight now going after those Dryads. All right. Archers, Gargoyles getting finished off here on multiple sides. This Destroyer about to get taken down. It falls. And another Destroyer about to fall here, down to 109 hit points. Needs to get healed back up. And wow, this battle is still raging on here. 59 supply over 100 as the Druids of the Talon chasing after a Destroyer. 39 over 80 supply. So Undead definitely behind on supply and continuing to lose more. There goes another Abomination as the Dark Ranger Goblin Tinker still looking to finish things off here as the Demon Hunter falls at level 3. Druid of the Talon now taken down. Dryad still cleaning up the southern side here. We are looking at saturation on 2 bases. 54 over 100, so 14 gold a second compared to 7. Lich chasing down after, or getting chased down by the Dark Ranger. Dark Ranger of Tho already sitting at level 6 now. Has the mana, and with that, well, Abominations look awfully charmable at this point and stage in the game.
The town is under siege.
Back across here. Slaughterhouse does train up an Obsidian statue. We are looking at 37 over 80 supply. Druid of the Talon staying in Druid form. Looking to perhaps try to get some rejuvenations off. Or sorry, Druid of the Claw staying in Druid form. Druid of the Talon staying in fighting form. 30 to 54 damage. A very strong piercing damage as a good anti-air against those Destroyers. Yeah, that range, 600 air to air, rather impressive indeed. Though looking like he's going to leverage his economic advantage even further. The Lich, Death Knight, and Crypt Lord. Well, if the Death Knight and the Lich can also get to level 5, 3 level 5 nukes could be enough to turn the tide here as this Dryad now, well, trying to prance away. 63 over 100 compared to 45 over 80. 10 gold a second compared to 14. And we're waiting for this final fight. Who's going to be able to perhaps open up with better damage? That is the question, as the Crypt Lord does have dual potions of mana. That is incredibly important as the Demon Hunter going to try to come in and get a mana burn there. There goes a big Impale. Are we going to see the Death Coil, Frost Nova, Demon Hunter, Staff of Preservation after the mana burn? Crypt Lord still has plenty here. We're going to be looking at more damage again. There is one Nerubian tower, no Spirit Tower as the Druids of the Talon are diving into that back spot. Are we going to see a Death Coil heal? Destroyer down to dead as the Druid of the Talon able to focus it down. All right, going up against the very back corner, trying to fight things off here. Are we going to see a Druid of the Claw get taken out? Yes, no, down to 15 hit points. One more shot should do it. Doesn't impale. And now the Demon Hunter getting back across here. Are we going to see more damage? Yes, there goes another mana burn. And VietnamGosu trying to hold back the army here. 41 supply. Wow, that Druid of the Claw able to get back into Druid form and rejuvenate and heal back up. This is going to be about a 20-second reprieve before they knock on the door again, and that may be too much there. 74 over 100 supply. Here we are. Here we go next. Lich, Crypt Lord, Abomination, getting ready to line things up here. We're going to go back. There's a charm onto another Abomination, and that's got to be the game. Though, knowing that he doesn't even need to force this fight right now, he's just going to be in a great spot. The longer this game goes, the better it is for him. He has the economic advantage. He has the hero level ultimate advantage as the Crypt Lord stays alive. All right, Death Knight is going to throw a Town Portal. No, he does not, and that should be the game there. VietnamGosu losing to Dark Ranger Life Siphon first here on Northern Isle. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below.